Hello students, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon when you are watching this video lecture. In the earlier session, we discussed about some of the basic concepts and procedures to be followed while preparing final accounts, and also demonstrated the application of the core concepts by solving one of the questions in final accounts, wherein there was a trial balance which was given and some adjustments were there, and we had to prepare a trading and profit and loss account and balance sheet. That is a very common typical question from final accounts, but not necessarily always the question will be in the same way. So there are other possible types of questions also, but the point is, whatever the type of question it might be, whatever the kind of question we might encounter, what saves us and what finally will give us good marks, preferably full marks, is the core concepts application, which again goes back to debit credit, income expenditure, assets liabilities. That's all. Whatever we do, ultimately it will be revolving around that and following the double entry strictly. If we stick to these core principles, definitely we should be able to score maximum marks from any question that comes from this chapter of final accounts. Now let us start to solve some more questions in final accounts and understand the process. Let's go to question number 2, which gives the balance sheet of Mittal on 1st January 2018. That generally means it is the opening balance sheet, and various opening balances for different accounts can be seen in this balance sheet. But during 2018, so 1st January 2018 was opening balance sheet, means this person must be following a calendar year as its financial year. So during 2018, the profit and loss account revealed some net profit, which was calculated after doing some adjustments already given. But while preparing the profit and loss account, he had forgotten to provide some things and also some balances on 31st December were also given. And what is required ultimately here is to prepare revised profit and loss account and balance sheet at the end of the year. End of the year means 31st December 2018. So obviously we need a revised profit and loss account. So it is not a trading and profit and loss account, it's only a revised profit and loss account of Mittal as for the year ended on 31st December 2018. That should be the heading for it. And of course, balance sheet as on 31st December 2018. That should be the heading for the main answer that we have to prepare and present. Now, there are other things which are already given here as opening items of balance sheet. So the point is, each of the items we have to take into consideration and see where we can place them again. So main point here to understand is, when we look at current assets and current liabilities, those amounts will change because of the operations, because of the business activity that is carried out during the year. For example, the items like trade receivables, cash at bank, inventories will be different from opening to closing. Why they will be different? Because during the year there would have been a lot of sales, including credit sales, and some of the old debtors would have paid back, some new debtors would have come into picture. So lot of changes happened to the trade receivables amount. Same way, lot of transactions would happen in cash and bank. So bank balance will be different in the closing balance sheet. Inventories will change because a lot of purchases, sales, so many things happened, returns, all these things will change the inventories also. So these three items can never be same at the end of the year. That is why the reason for giving these three items is we don't know them. We cannot just like that take the items in opening balance sheet as same amounts in closing balance sheet. So obviously in closing balance sheet what we have to do is these three which are given here. Trade receivables are 21 lakhs, cash at bank is 5 lakhs 20,000, trade payables is 13 lakhs 84,000. Stock is not particularly given as it is, but whatever is given that we can definitely take. So current assets and liabilities, trade receivables 21 lakhs. So let us take that in the balance sheet, asset side, current assets which are basically trade receivables, which is 21 lakhs. Then same way, cash at bank, trade receivables may have some adjustment. That should be in inner column. Ideally, cash at bank is cash at bank. What will be their adjustment in that? Nothing. So cash at bank is 5 lakhs 20,000. Trade payables are also there, which are 13 lakhs 84,000. 13 lakhs 84,000. So that is three different items which we have taken from the question itself, but not from opening balance sheet. So trade receivables, cash at bank, and trade payables, all of them are already given, which we used in the closing balance sheet preparation. But the point is, the items like capital, it will start with that only, because the year started with 51 lakhs rupees capital. Okay, a lot of changes would have happened during the year, but certainly capital starting point is the same amount. So we can straight away take this 51 lakhs in our closing balance sheet also, but not as a final amount, but as a beginning amount. We will do some additions and deductions to this according to the information. Then we will get what is the final amount of capital at the end of the year. But this is a capital at the beginning of the year for sure, according to opening balance sheets. So we can directly take that 51 lakhs capital. Then plant and machinery opening was 31 lakhs. That will be starting point. It will be there. Maybe some depreciation is there. Maybe some new purchase happened, sold. Whatever information will be given, which we don't know. We have not read that yet. But certainly, for sure, starting point will be 31 lakhs. Some changes might happen to that. But starting with 31 lakhs only, we have to prepare this closing balance sheet also. So we have taken 51 lakhs, 31 lakhs from opening balance sheet straight to the closing balance sheet also as starting points once again, not as final amounts. Then there is furniture and fixtures 4 lakhs. So one more item, furniture and fixtures. Need reasonable space for each of these adjustments if there are any. Of course, for furniture there will be depreciation. For sure there will be, because opening balance of furniture is only 4 lakhs. But it will not be the closing balance. There will be depreciation. What is that? How much is that? We will see it later. Now the point is, the three items here we took from already given amounts, and three items we took directly into the closing balance sheet. Remaining things are still there. Inventories, how much is the balance at the end of the year? Still we don't know. Expenses payable at the beginning of the year would not be there at the end of the year because they would have been already paid now. So that will be gone during the year. If nothing is mentioned, definitely those expenses would have been paid during the year. Outstanding expenses would have been already paid. So they will not remain in the same amount definitely in the closing balance sheet. So those things can be ignored which are from opening balance sheet. But we need to read the other information and accordingly we have to act. During this year 2018, his profit and loss account revealed a net profit of 15 lakhs 10,000. This was after allowing for the following. So after already doing this 15 lakhs 10,000 is the profit. So what is the starting point, which is, we can call it balance, opening balance, or the calculated profit. So net profit already computed is this, which has to be definitely adjusted for many things. That is why we are preparing a revised profit and loss account. So net profit is 15 lakhs 10,000 after providing or after allowing the following, means already they treated these items. So as far as the profit is concerned, which is 15 lakhs 10,000, these items are already taken care of. So we should not touch them again. Should not touch the P&L account again. But what about the balance sheet impact, other impact? That we have to give. That is not yet given. Interest on capital is there at the rate of 6% per annum. So interest on capital already adjusted, means already would have been debited to the P&L account. We don't have to do it again. But credit aspect of that we have to do it now, because interest on capital ideally should be added to the capital. How much is that? 6%. So on 51 lakhs, 6% interest means it will come to 3 lakhs 6,000. That should be added to the capital. So one aspect of the double entry was already done according to the question. So we are doing the second aspect, other aspect. In this case, the debit aspect was already done. Now what we have done is the credit aspect. Otherwise, second point, depreciation on plant and machinery 10%. Again, furniture and fixtures 5%. Already debited to P&L. So debit aspect is over. Already done. But other aspect we have to do. What is the other aspect? Credit aspect. Credit aspect is what? Reducing from the asset. Asset is debit balance. Reducing from asset is crediting. That amounts to credit treatment. So depreciation on plant and machinery 10% we have to reduce. So on this 10% means 3 lakhs 10,000 we have to reduce. Same way for furniture and fixtures it is 5%. So on this 5% means 20,000 we have to reduce. That is the treatment. Only one treatment. Why? In this case, because clearly it is given the profit has been calculated after allowing the following. Means one treatment is already done. Only we have to do the other treatment. So first case also, second case also, incidentally, debit treatment was already done. We did the credit treatment. That's all. Third point says, a provision for doubtful debts of 5% of the trade receivables as at 31st December 2018. So as at 31st December 2018, how much ever are trade receivables, which we know that 21 lakhs. For that, a provision for doubtful debts was 5% was created. Created means only P&L account was debited with that amount already done. So here also debit aspect was already done. We need to do the credit aspect. How? By reducing it from debtors. Debtors is a asset. Asset is debit balance. Reducing from a debit means credit. So credit aspect is 5% of the trade receivables to be created as provision for bad debts. 5% of, be careful, the balance on 31st December 2018. That is 21 lakhs. So we took that. But there is a problem here. They did not treat some of the things while preparing the profit and loss account. That means we have to do that now. Now we have to do both aspects. In the earlier 3 points, they did half, we did other half. But in this case, where there is completely an omission, which means they did not do anything. So we have to deal with both the aspects. So we had forgotten to provide for outstanding expenses 1,85,000. So we have to now do that adjustment. So expenses, they are expenses definitely. So 1,85,000 should be now debited to the P&L account, because they did not do that earlier. And also they will be treated as outstanding expenses liability in the balance sheet, 1,85,000. So once again, always you have to keep in mind what we did here. This is debit, outstanding expenses, you can call it, are two expenses, are two unpaid expenses. Either way, 1,85,000 debit aspect is done in the P&L account. Credit aspect is done by treating it as a liability. The liabilities are credit balances. So that is over. That is the treatment. Dual treatment has to be done here. Second thing, prepaid insurance was there to the extent of 25,000. Means from insurance expenditure we should reduce something, but we don't have that insurance expenditure. So definitely prepaid expenditure. First of all, if you look at the balance sheet aspect, which will be easier always to understand, from the balance sheet point of view, prepaid expenses will be what? prepaid expense is always an asset because you paid it in advance. That is your asset. So 25,000 is an asset. Asset means debit is already over. Now the question comes, credit where should we give? Ideally, we should reduce it from insurance expenses, which we don't have. So what do we do? So do we do like minus 25,000 like this? That doesn't sound good. That is why rather than doing a minus on debit side, let us do it a credit. Minus of debit is nothing but credit. So you can call that as prepaid insurance. 25,000 credit now. Aspect of treatment is important. How are you presenting? That doesn't matter all the times. If there was insurance expenditure on the debit side, we would have reduced it from that. Since we don't have it, there is no option. We have to treat it little differently. So how it can be done? Simply by crediting this revised P&L account. Ultimately, the treatment has to be a credit treatment because debit treatment is already over by treating it as an asset. So how the credit treatment can happen? A reduction from debit should happen. But since we don't have a item to be reduced from, we are treating it directly, showing us on the credit side of the P&L account. That can be the treatment for those points. So 3 points are there, which were done half, we did other half, and 2 points are there, which they did not do anything, so we did both of them. Means both debit credit aspects we treated. Double entry we treated. Then current assets and liabilities we already took. Trade receivables, cash at bank, trade payables, all of them were taken. And here he withdrew 6,20,000 for domestic use. That is one more point he says. And closing inventories is equal to the net trade receivables at the year end. Net trade receivables. So we'll come to this withdrawal part extra. But closing inventories is equal to net trade receivables, he said. So inventory is indirectly given. What is that? How much is the net trade? Net means what? Net means after creating the provision. How much is the net trade receivables? That is 19,95,000, which means inventories also will be same thing. So you can call it closing stock or you can call it inventories. Inventories also will be how much? Same amount. It will be 19,95,000 only, but it has to be treated again. No need actually, yeah, because we are not preparing any trading account. We don't have to treat it because this net profit would have been already calculated, right? After treating all the items in trading account also, P&L account also, so it's already over. So this closing stock, we don't have to treat it again. Only it will be there in the balance sheet. That's all. That is the point here. And coming to the 6,20,000 point, the withdrew means definitely cash account would have been already credited. So that is the bank balance shown here, which is 5,20,000. Ideally should be after this only. But what entry, what is the treatment which was not done already is reduction from capital, because capital we have is only the opening balance. So drawings, that is simply, how much is that? 6,20,000. That should be now reduced from capital. That's all. We are required to prepare revised P&L account and balance sheet. So it's a smaller question relatively. So what is the revised profit and loss account? Now, revised profit and loss account is total is 15,35,000, and what is the balancing figure? Means the revised profit actually, what is, how much is the profit? 15,35,000 minus this. 13,50,000 is the real net profit. So we can call it revised net profit. Where this will go? This should go to balance sheet on the capital, on the liability side, add it to the capital. That is net profit. How much? 13,50,000. Same amount will come here. So that is the adjustment for capital. So now take items to the outer column. Original capital, interest on capital to be added, drawings to be deducted, profit to be added. So total final capital on the outer column of balance sheet liability side is 61,36,000. What about outstanding expenses? Same. That is 1,85,000 as given in the question. Trade payables, no adjustment. So that means it is same. 13,84,000. Now take other things also to the outer column. Plant and machinery will be 27,90,000. Furniture and fittings will be 3,80,000. Trade receivables, we already took to outer column, which is 19,95,000, and it is given in the question that inventories are equal to that, which is also 19,95,000. Cash at bank was given in the question. Prepaid expenses also we took. Obviously, ideally this total should match. Okay. That's it. Whatever is in the outer column, that has to be totaled. So balance sheet total is okay. There are some more items there. 77 lakhs 5,000. That is the total of balance sheet. You have to do it manually and check that. 77 lakhs 5,000, both asset side also and liability side also. That is a 10 marks question, and definitely it is a test of core conceptual knowledge. It's not a mechanical question. Just like that, like earlier, trial balance is there, debit credit is there already, just post it somewhere. Like that, we cannot do such kind of questions. So this question requires deep understanding of final accounts. Some things, basic things only we have to definitely remember well. The current assets and liabilities will always be different from opening to closing, unless otherwise given in the question. So in this case, directly trade receivables, cash at bank, and trade payables amounts at the end of the year are given already. Inventories, indirectly it is mentioned how much is the amount of that. That is the core point. Capital will be the starting point, plant and machinery, furniture and fixtures will be the starting point. And we have to recalculate the profit with those adjustments which are not done already. Which are done already, we need to do only the other side of it. In these 3 points, half of the treatment is already done, we did the other half. But the other points where they forgot to treat completely, we had to do both aspects. That is important item to be identified. And straight away, whatever current assets are given, you just take them to balance sheet, nothing else to do. And 6,20,000 is drawings, which should be reduced from capital. That's all. All the things are given. Just what you need to do is place them at correct position and correct statement or account. That is question number 2 related to final accounts. One of the past examination questions. Now, moving on to question number 3. Again, typical question. But here only thing is, debit credit aspects are not given. So we should know already what will be that. Is it an asset or liability or an income or expenditure? We should identify. If trial balance is given, at least debit, which one is a debit account and which one is a credit account, credit balance account and debit balance account, we can identify that. But here it is also not given. It's okay, it gives a little bit extra task to us. But still, with understanding of various items, whether they are incomes or expenses or assets or liabilities, we should be able to find out whether a debit should be done or credit should be done. And additional information is always there related to the adjustments which are supposed to be done. And what is required here also is prepare a trading and profit and loss account for the year ended 31st March 2021 and a balance sheet as on that date. That was a requirement. So you need to place these items at respective places one by one. So let us do this. Freshly. Trading and profit and loss account of Vijay. Okay. For the year ended 31st March 2021. Clearly should give that heading. Next, balance sheet as on 31st March 2021. That has to be also very clearly written. So let us take everything fresh from the balances. These are not opening balances, etc. These are balances on the same date, 31st March 2021. So all that we need to do is just post them and place them at respective places. So one by one, let us see. Plant and machinery, 39,100. That should go to balance sheet because it is an asset, plant and machinery. So take it to balance sheet, plant and machinery, 39,100. Usually there will be an adjustment for depreciation, so we have to keep it in inner column. But generally just go through the adjustments also so that we know which items have to be there in the inner column. Additional information says purchases include some sales return and sales include some purchase return. Means we have to do some adjustments on purchases also, sales also. So that has to be done. Then free samples distributed for publicity costing 1650. New adjustment has to be done. And goods withdrawn by Vijay for own consumption are included in purchases. So definitely purchase has an adjustment, and that is a drawings. Wages paid in the month of April for the installation of plant and machinery amounting to 900 were included in wages account. Installation of plant and machinery is a capital expenditure, but they were unnecessarily included in wages account. So there is an adjustment in wages also, and adjustment to plant and machinery also. Next, create a provision for doubtful debts, provision for discount on debtors. Normal adjustments always will be there, where the adjustment will be to the debtors, and again in P&L account. Depreciation will be always there. Closing stock is given. So these are the simple standardized normal routine adjustments which are there. So wages is one thing, certainly. Sales and purchases is one thing, and also debtors and assets like plant and machinery, furniture and fittings. Definitely they all have to be in the inner column, because there are adjustments to be done. Now, let us go to the other items. Plant and machinery, where did we treat? We took it to the balance sheet assets side. Then same way, furniture and fittings, 20,500. Leave sufficient space for plant and machinery, because we know there are some adjustments to be done. Furniture and fittings is 20,500. Again, same thing. Asset. So asset side of balance sheet. Bank overdraft, 1,60,000 will be naturally a liability. Bank overdraft, 1,60,000. Next, capital account, 1,30,000. See, bank overdraft can be on the outer column since there are no adjustments specifically, but capital definitely will have adjustments. So definitely it should be in inner column, 1,30,000. Then drawing, 16,000. So drawing should be reduced from capital. So how much is that? 15,000 means it should be a minus. Sorry, 16,000. Minus, that is. Purchases, 3,20,000 should be going to the trading account. Two purchases. Two purchases. Inner column, definitely there are so many adjustments to be done. So 3,20,000 in the inner column of trading account. Opening stock, 64,400. That will be also in the trading account, debit side, 64,500. Wages. Wages is a direct expenditure. Usually, wages is something which we post to the trading account. Salaries is something which we post to the P&L account. So write it as two wages. Inner column, because we know there are some adjustments there, 24,330. Provision for doubtful debts is already there, 6,400. So this is already there. So leave it apart. This is one thing which you have to be careful about, because we have to understand these things which are provisions. Already whichever are there, they are credit balances. They are already there. So when we create a new provision, what is the language used? You have to be very clear. So create a provision for doubtful debts at the rate of 5% and a provision for a discount on debtors at the rate of 2.5%. That's what is asked. So first we have to calculate that and then check whether already the existing provision is enough for that. If not enough, we may have to create a new provision. So that is why when these things are there, provision for doubtful debts, provision for a discount on debtors, ideally you postpone it and treat all of them at once later. We can move on to the other aspects now. Debtors, 2,40,000, which is definitely to be posted on the assets side of balance sheet. Debtors, of course it will have a lot of adjustments. So 2,40,000 in the inner column. Creditors, 95,000. Liability side of balance sheet. Sundry creditors, 95,000. Bad debts are there, real bad debts. Provision is different, real bad debts are different. These are real bad debts. Bad debts is a loss. So bad debts, when they are there already, they have to be debited to P&L. Bad debts are to be debited to P&L because it's a loss. Next, bad debts recovered. Reverse. Bad debts, when you debit P&L, bad debts recovered, you will credit P&L. Income, that is. So earlier we would have already debited P&L when they occurred. Now they are recovered, means that is becoming like an income. So 900 rupees credited to profit and loss account. Salaries 45,100. Next, salaries payable is 4,900. So here, salaries payable, prepaid rent. Ideally, these are all supposed to be adjustments. So, which aspect is already done and which aspect is not already done is something that we have to take care of. So, ideally, we have to think that these are not completely dealt with. So, we have to deal with them separately at different places. But the problem is here, we don't know this is a debit balance or credit balance. So that is the issue. When we don't have a tallied trial balance, definitely one of the aspects would have been treated and one of the aspects would not have been treated. Which one is treated, which one is not treated? We may say generally that so and so is treated and so is not treated, which is okay. But practically, that is something which is not possible to generalize all the times. So there are various ways of dealing with this situation, because ideally these payable, salaries payable, prepaid rent, outstanding things, etc., these things should be in the adjustments. But if they are already in the account balances, that gives a question mark. Which treatment was done, which treatment is not done? Safely we can assume that P&L treatment is already done and balance sheet treatment is not yet done. But again, the question comes, how do we know that? We cannot have any technically correct answer. That's why in such situations, if at all, no balanced trial balance is given, I would suggest to take some more time, little bit more time it will take, but quickly to prepare a trial balance and check which of the treatments is done. So for that, all that you need to do is, which are all debit balances, which are all credit balances, just you have to write down in rough and total that, so that it should be tallied. So we don't have to prepare a revised trial balance or a tallied trial balance ourselves. That is not required, not asked. But as a working notes, you can do this, or as a rough work also you can do this. So let us very quickly go through this and do this. Plant and machinery 39,100 will be naturally debit, and furniture and fittings being an asset also debit 20,500. 1,60,000 credit. Then 1,30,000 credit capital. Then drawing 16,000 debit, opposite of capital. Then purchases 3,20,000 debit. Then opening stock 64,500 debit. Then wages 24,330 debit. Expenses. Provisions will be always credit balances. So 6,400 and 2,750 are credit balances. Then 2,40,000 debtors debit balance and 95,000 creditors credit balance. 2,200 bad debts debit balance being a loss. Then bad debts recovered 900 is an income, so credit balance. Salary is 45,100. So far we have no issues. That is also a debit balance. Now the question was salaries payable, prepaid rent, which aspect they did already, which aspect they did not do. So normally what aspect would have been done is the P&L aspect. What aspect would not have been done is the balance sheet aspect. So let us consider like that and see if the trial balance tallies. If it tallies, that means it holds good. So salaries payable is a liability, outstanding expenses. So let us treat it as a credit balance. Prepaid rent is an asset. So balance sheet item wise. So debit balance. Then rent is 8,600, which is expenditure. Carriage inwards and carriage outwards, both are expenses. Both are debit balances. Sales credit. Advertisement expenses 6,700, debit. Printing and stationery expenditure, so debit. Cash in hand, cash at bank, both are debit balances. As assets 2,900, 6,250. Then office expenses 20,320, debit balance. Interest on loan, which is also an expenditure, debit balance. So these are the balances given. So let us check whether, first of all, prima facie these totals are matching or not. Should match. If they match, that means what contention we had in terms of the outstanding salaries and prepaid expenses is correct. Yes, it is matching. That means these two, 4,900 and 600, already P&L is done. So we have to only treat with balance sheet item, which is for salaries payable, which is outstanding item. That means which should be a liability. So outstanding salaries we can call it. Liability, outstanding salaries. So liability how much? 4,900. Only one treatment. Prepaid rent 600. Asset. Only one treatment, because the other treatment would have already been done. That we proved with a tally trial balance. So prepaid rent 600. Asset. Rent itself is 8,600. That will be an expenditure. So in the P&L account, we should have rent. That is expenditure how much? 8,600. No adjustments are required for salaries and rent here, because already they have been done. Carriage inwards 2250. Carriage inwards is something that we pay when we purchase our materials. So that will be a trading account item. 2250. Carriage inwards. You can add to purchases also. Otherwise, you can show separately also in trading account. Both are okay. 2250. Let us show it separately. Carriage outwards is also an expenditure, but this is something that we pay as a transport charges when we sell goods. That is why we call it carriage outwards. So carriage outwards expenditure, but it is a P&L item, because it is not related to purchases, it is related to sales. It is like a kind of marketing expense, because we are giving some type of service to the customer by delivering the goods to them. Then comes the sales, 430,600. Buy sales 4,30,600. That will be trading account credit side, 4,30,600. Then advertisement expenses 6,700. So looks like there is an adjustment for that. So let us put it in inner column. Advertisement expenses 6,700. Then printing and stationery 2,500. 2,500. Printing and stationery also expenditure. So that is also debited to P&L. Cash in hand, cash at bank, both are assets. So both will go to balance sheet asset side, 2,900 and 6,250. So 2,900, 6,250. What are these? One is cash in hand and one is cash at bank. 2,900, 6,250. Then other remaining both are expenses only, office expenses and interest. Both are expenses, so both will be treated in P&L account only. So put it in P&L account. Office expenses, that is 20,320, and interest on loan, that is 6,000. Okay, so that is the treatment of various items which are given as balances. as good as trial balance, but unfortunately trial balance is not given, which we just prepared as a rough trial balance so that we make sure it tallies, because that is important. If that does not tally, our final balance sheet will not tally. So that is why it is important. Now, out of all, only two things which we did not treat are provision for doubtful debts and provision for discount on debtors. We will come to those two things later. Other than that, all others have been posted once, either debit aspect or credit aspect, one of them only, in either trading account or profit and loss account or balance sheet. So that is over. Now the next job will be naturally to do the adjustments. Adjustments will require two treatments, debit also, credit also. So let us treat each of them one by one separately. Purchases include a sales return of 5150. So purchase already include something which is a sales return actually. That is wrong. So you have to take it out. So take it out from purchases 5150. But where should that also be taken out? From sales, because they are sales returns which were not treated earlier as sales returns. Now we have to treat it. So returns, that is 5150. So reduce it from purchases also and reduce it from sales also. That is the treatment for 5150. But this is a mistake. So rectification. 5150 reduce from purchases, also reduce from sales. Naturally, both debit and credit aspects have been done. Reducing from purchases is a credit aspect. Reducing from sales is a debit aspect. Both are done. Same way, sales include a purchase return of 3450. So sales include already 3450. So what we should do? We should reduce from sales because it is a wrong thing. That is now to be rectified. This is rectification that is happening here by reducing from sales 3450. But they are actually purchase returns which should have been reduced from purchases. So returns, purchase returns, these are, that is also 3450 which should have been reduced from actually purchases, which was not done earlier. Now here also same thing, reduction from sales is a debit aspect, reduction from purchases is a credit aspect. Done, both of them, dual treatments done. Then comes free samples distributed for publicity costing 1650. So publicity is as good as advertisement expenditure. So when you have advertisement expenditure, that is free samples which we are distributing, that is reducing our stock. So what can be the adjustment here? Add to the advertisement expenditure, free samples you can call it, add to the advertisement expenditure, that is 1650, which is a debit aspect. Then what is credit aspect? Credit aspect can be reduction from purchases. Purchases normally is debit balance. Reducing from that is credit balance. So free samples should be reduced from purchases. That is 1650. Done. Both are done. Third point. Goods withdrawn by Vijay for own consumption 7000 included in purchases. Once again wrong thing. These are drawings actually. So goods withdrawn for personal use. Goods withdrawn for personal use which are 7000. They should be reduced from purchases. They are already included in that, which is wrong. So that should be reduced from purchases. Again, where it has to be treated. Reducing from purchases means which aspect first of all? That is credit aspect. So again, debit aspect has to be given how? Debit aspect by reducing from capital. So these are also drawings. That is 7000. So reduce from capital as drawings and reduce from purchases. Both are treating debit aspect as well as credit aspect simultaneously. That is done. Third point. Fourth point, wages paid in the month of April for installation of plant and machinery amounting to 900 were included in wages account. That is a mistake. We need to rectify that mistake. When they are already included in wages account, what we should do is we should reduce it from that first of all. We should reduce that from wages account, which is actually a capital expenditure. So capital expenditure should not be debited to trading account or P&L account. So it should be reduced. How much is that? Wages 900 rupees to be reduced from wages. So reduction from debit means we already did credit aspect. Now we have to do debit aspect. So debit aspect is what? Ideally, they are capital expenditure means they should be added to the plant and machinery. So these are capital expenditure wages which are to be added to the plant and machinery because there is a capital expenditure. Ideally, the entry should have been plant and machinery to cash. Rather, they did wages to cash. Now rectification will be what? Plant and machinery to wages. Plant and machinery debited, wages credited. Debiting plant and machinery means adding to that. Crediting wages means deducting from wages because wages originally is a debit balance. So that's it. That was fourth point. Provision for doubtful debts and provision for discount on debtors. We'll come to that later, as I said already. We'll wait for it. We'll do the other things before that. Depreciation to be provided on plant and machinery 15%, furniture and fittings 10%. So depreciation on plant and machinery. Plant and machinery here is not 39,100. We have to provide on 39,100 plus 900 means 40,000. On 40,000 you have to provide depreciation. So how much is going to be the depreciation on plant and machinery? That is mentioned as 15%. So 15% of 40,000 is 6,000. So deduct it from plant and machinery and again debit it to P&L account. So depreciation on plant and machinery, that is 6,000. Next, depreciation on furniture and fittings is different. That is given in the question as 10%. So how much is that? First let us go to the furniture. 10% depreciation will be 2050. That is one treatment. Other treatment, should not forget the double treatment, should be here debiting P&L account 2050. That's all. That is depreciation. Anyway, two depreciations are provided. Next, closing stock is given as 2,50,000. Again requires dual treatment. So once in the balance sheet as a closing stock or inventories, whatever you call it, 2,50,000. And again in the trading account credit side by closing stock 2,50,000. So both treatments are done, debit as well as credit. Asset side of balance sheet is debit treatment, crediting trading account is credit treatment. Both are done. So now what is remaining after all the adjustments is provision for doubtful debts and provision for discount on debtors. So now provision for doubtful debts is supposed to be created at the rate of 5%. So first of all let us see how much is that amount, because the debtors are 2,40,000. See, when the debtors are 2,40,000, I need to show all these things in the working notes ideally. So when the debtors are 2,40,000, provision for bad debts is supposed to be created at the rate of 5%. Means how much provision is required at the end of the year is 12,000. But the point is already there is a provision of how much? 6,400 existing in our books of accounts. So how much extra provision that we needed to provide? So when you already have a provision of 6,400, extra provision that is required will be only 5,600. So that is going to be the provision that is required here. So now what will be the treatment finally? Okay, this is the calculation part. Treatment part, how we will do that? First of all, this 6,400 we are not going to treat separately. First let us check 5,600, which is supposed to be freshly made. That is going to be how much? 5,600. So provision for bad debts that is going to be 5,600, debit to P&L. Debit to P&L 5,600. So what will be the other treatment of this? Ideally the provision account has to be credited, but provision account already had a balance of 6,400. Adding 5,600 to that will make that provision account as 12,000. That's what we did. So what actually we have done here is we are doing 5,600 separately and 6,400 separately. If we understand that, if at all we have to separately show that, but ideally what is required here, ultimately how much is the total provision that we require is 12,000. So 6,400 which we did not treat earlier, which was a credit balance, now we are reducing from debtors, yes, and 5,600 which we already debited earlier, now are we crediting it by reducing from debtors? Yes. But do we need to do this? No need. Straight away we can write 12,000. We don't need to show separate items because this is just total provision for bad debts at the end of the year, which is 12,000. So this 12,000 includes 6,400. That means effectively what we did now is we already treated this 6,400. This is over. Now provision for discount on debtors also logically same. So how much ideally should be the provision for a discount on debtors? 2,40,000 minus 12,000, 2,28,000. So net debtors are only 2,28,000 after the provision. On that, what is the provision that is required according to question is 2.5%. So 2.5% of 2,28,000 is 5,700. That much provision for a discount on debtors is required. But how much is already there? That is point to be noted. 2,750 is already there. When it is already there, all that what we need to do is provide for the remaining amount. So 5,700 minus 2,750. So how much to be separately provided now freshly is 2,950. So how this should be treated? That should go to the P&L account. Provision for discount on debtors 2,950. So like I told already, in the balance sheet 2,950 plus the original amount of 2,750, both of them put together will be 5,700. So we don't need to show them separately. Straight away we can show provision for discount on debtors, that is going to be 5,700. So that treats both the adjustment as well as the item originally given in the balances. Item originally given in the balances is already included in this 5,700. What about the adjustment? Adjustment is there. 2,950 here debit. Same 2,950 is already included in the credit here, which is by way of reduction from debtors. That is the treatment for provision for bad debts, provision for discount on debtors. That concludes all the adjustments and all the types of things that we require to do. We completed everything. Now all that is required is to close the books of accounts by totaling all these things and taking the items to the outer column. So opening stock is already there. Purchases has to be calculated. So many adjustments are there. After all the adjustments, the purchases should be in the outer column 3,02,750. You have to do these calculations manually on paper. And wages, actually final amount should be 24,430. Then coming to the sales after the adjustments, the correct item to the outer column should be 4,22,000. That means the credit side, which is the bigger side, 6,72,000 is the total of trading account. Now from this we have to reduce all the items on the debit side. You have to do this manually, and the resultant will be gross profit. So 3,47,000. Sorry, opening stock is also 279,070. 2,79,070 is the gross profit. So once the gross profit is there from the trading account, take the same thing to P&L account by gross profit, which is same amount 2,79,070. Then comes total of P&L account, which is 2,79,970, and from that we have to reduce all the other items. But before that, make sure all the things are taken to outer column, because totaling should happen in the outer column, right? So yes, what will be the net profit now? This minus the total of all other items earlier. So you have to do this manually also. And net profit will be 1,67,600. Where this should go? That should go to the balance sheet, and you have to add that to the capital. How much amount? Same amount should be added, 1,67,600. Then how much is going to the outer column of capital after the adjustments of drawings, goods withdrawn for personal use, and adding net profit? 274,600. Then bank overdraft is there, creditors is there, outstanding salaries are there. So total of balance sheet was 534,500. Anyway, we'll come to the totaling part later. Before that, we have to take everything to outer column. So how much is the outer column of plant and machinery? 34,000. How much is the real actual balance of furniture and fittings after depreciation? 18,450. Closing stock already there, 2,50,000. Debtors after the adjustments, both providing for provision, discount, and bad debts. After that, 2,22,300. Then other things are there. So that means finally the balance sheet should tally, which happens automatically if you do all the treatments correctly. Debit treatments debit, credit treatments credit. If that is done, automatically the the balance sheet should tally. So that is question number 3. Only point here was the trial balance was not given, balances were given, and generally most of the things are clear. When we had a dilemma about a couple of items, we just tested what are those items, and we got the correct answer in the form of a tallied trial balance, which we prepared as a rough draft. So such situations might demand a bit of more time, but when you really spend the time and give an accurate answer, the total score that you get is definitely very, very valuable, worth it. So that is question number 3. Okay, so that is one more thing. And the question number 4 actually looks like more or less same question with the different numbers. So I'll give this to you for practice later, because all of the things are looking like same, only numbers have been changed. So there is no point of discussing it once again. Only one point looks to be a separate thing, which is the 7th point here. Bank overdraft is secured against hypothecation of stock. Bank overdraft outstanding on 31st March 2019 has been considered as 80% of the real value of stock. That is deducting 20% as margin. And after adjusting the marginal value of 80% of the same has been allowed to draw as an overdraft. So the point is, whatever the stock that we are talking about, which is supposed to be there, that is not given. In other words, the closing stock is not given directly, unlike in the earlier question. That is the only point. Indirectly, it is given as bank overdraft has a link with the stock. So imagine if stock is 100 rupees, just for understanding purposes, it is valued at 80% of that. Means it is valued at only 80 rupees. And that only 80% is given as the amount of overdraft. So 80% of 80% is only allowed to be drawn. That means the actual bank overdraft, whatever it is representing how much percent of the value of the stock originally. Only 64% is represented by the bank overdraft. So imagine if the stock value is originally 800, bank overdraft is only 64. So stock value is not directly given. When it is not directly given, but bank overdraft is given, we can find out the stock value. If 80,000 rupees is representing 64, how much is 100? So how much will be the closing stock? Indirectly it is given 80,000 into 100 by 64. That is 1,25,000. So the main point here, end of the question, the 7th point, is calculation of closing stock. How much is that? 1,25,000. Other than that, all other points are same. So use it for practice and do it again on your own and get the tallied trial balance. So logic wise, all the things whatever we discussed in question number 3 are same in question number 4 also. But these type of questions have been asked repeatedly, so the models will repeat, numbers will change, and as we can observe, some of the items are extra, little different things are given, like this point number 7. So this is given for the purpose of calculation of closing stock, which is not given directly, but bank overdraft is given. That bank overdraft is given as a 80% of the 80% of stock. That is the meaning of this paragraph. So that means the bank overdraft represents only 64% of the original stock. When you know bank overdraft, how much would have been the original stock? That we calculated as 1,25,000. With that, all other things are same, and you can solve this question on your own, right? And similar treatment will be there for all the other items. That was question number 4. Now let's move on to question number 5. Once again, a typical question with trial balance given, debit balance is credit balance, and the simple adjustments are all given. So these type of questions are very, very common, typical final accounts questions. So let us solve this question number 5. So as usual, without reading any items within the trial balance, let us go to the adjustments. What are all there? Closing stock is there, which will be commonly there. Salary of 100 rupees, tax of 200 are outstanding. Insurance is 50 rupees prepaid. So salaries, tax, insurance, all of them have adjustments. Commission received in advance is 100. That also is an adjustment. Interest accrued on investments is there. Interest on overdraft is unpaid. and reserve for bad debts is to be kept. That is a separate thing. Depreciation has to be provided. These are the adjustments. So salaries, tax, insurance, commission, interest, all of them have some adjustments. So let us take a look at each of the items one by one. Each debit balance has only a possibility of either debit side of P&L, debit side of trading account, or an asset, or a reduction from liability, or a reduction from incomes. These are the only possibilities. So let us check each of them and post them at respective places. Cash in hand, asset. So balance sheet, asset side, cash in hand, 1500. Second, purchases 12,000, trading account, 2 purchases. Maybe there are adjustments, we don't know. Let us keep it inside. If there are returns, etc., there may be an adjustment to be done. So purchases 12,000, debit side. Then sales return is 1,000. Sales is something which we will get later. We will post it when it comes. And sales return, we can do it as a reduction from sales. So a debit is reduced from credit. Reduction from credit is as usual as debit only. So returns 1,000. How much will be sales? We'll come to that later. Go point by point. Don't try to jump from here to sales and all. Just leave it blank. Sales, leave it blank. Then returns minus 1,000. So that is done. So each of them try to mark so that we don't miss any items. Salaries 2,500. That will be a P&L item. So salaries, there is an adjustment as we saw in the additional points. So put it in inner column. Then tax and insurance also adjustment is there. Put it in inner column. Tax and insurance, which is 500. Then bad debts are 500. That should be debited to P&L as a loss. So bad debts can be taken to outer column. So that is 500. Debtors 5,000. That is an asset. So balance sheet, asset side, debtors. Definitely in the inner column because there will be some provision, etc. So 5,000, put it in inner column. Investments 4,000. So that is also an asset. Investments 4,000. So that will be in the balance sheet, asset side. Done. Opening stock 1,400. Trading account, starting point 2, opening stock 1,400. Drawings 2,000. It is to be reduced from capital. Capital will be in balance sheet. Whatever that amount may be, we don't know that yet. We will come to that later when we reach it. But now drawings is definitely 2,000, which should be reduced from capital. Drawings 2,000. Furniture 1,600, asset. Inner column, maybe there is depreciation on that. Bills receivable 3,000, asset. $3,000 asset. So these are the various items which are all the debit balances in the trial balance. Coming to the credit balances, one by one. Capital 16,000. So fill it here, 16,000. Bank overdraft 2,000. That is also a liability. Bank overdraft 2,000. Then sales 9,000. Sales, we have a place for it, 9,000. Just fill it there. Purchase returns 2,000. They should be reduced from purchases. So purchases are there, whatever. From that returns are 2,000. So reduce from purchases. provision for bad debts is something which is already there. So once again, we should not do anything now. We have to come back to it later. Creditors 2000. Creditors 2000. That is also a liability. Done. Commission on the credit side means credit balance means it is an income. If nothing is mentioned, we don't know whether it is a commission income or commission expenditure. But when it is clearly on the credit side, credit balance, that means it is definitely an income. So in the P&L account, by commission, inner column, there is an adjustment there also. So keep it in inner column 500. Bills payable is 2500, is a liability. So balance sheet, liability side, bills payable amount is 2500. That's all. That concludes the treatment of all items within the trial balance except provision for bad debts. Other than that, everything else has been treated. We'll come to provision for bad debts later. Now look at the adjustments. Each adjustment has to be dealt twice, compulsory. So you have to be very careful about that. Don't miss that logic. Closing stock at 4500. So two places it will be. One is balance sheet asset side, closing stock, which is 4500. Again, trading account, credit side, closing stock, by closing stock, 4500. That is done. Then these are all different items. So don't look at all of them one shot. Look at them one by one. Salary 100, tax 200 are outstanding. So these two are outstanding. So 100 rupees salary outstanding means we have to add that to the salaries because that is also an expenditure related to this year but not yet paid. So outstanding salaries to be added to salaries. That is a debit aspect. What about credit aspect? That is a liability. So you can call it outstanding salary on the liability side, which is 100 rupees. Same with tax. Outstanding tax 200 rupees is there. So tax and insurance already whatever it is. Outstanding 200 rupees, add it here, and also outstanding tax 200 rupees is a liability. So debit treatment in P&L account, credit treatment in balance sheet as liability. That is the outstanding expenditure. Whatever expenditure it may be, treatment is same. Now insurance 50 rupees is prepaid. This is prepaid. Prepaid means it is an asset for sure. So prepaid insurance certainly is an asset. Prepaid insurance asset. How much? 50 rupees. So balance sheet asset side. That is a debit aspect. What about credit aspect? That has to be reduced from the respective item, which is also part of tax and insurance. So prepaid to be reduced from this. Here tax and insurance is put together given as 500. In that already this 50 is included. That is paid already, but not related to this year. That is related to the next period. So that is not a current year's expenditure, though it is paid in the current year. So as per accrual concept, you have to take only the expenditures which are related to this year, whether paid or not. Paid is not the point. Actually incurred or not is a point. So this 50 is not incurred during this year. So it has to be excluded from the original amount of 500. So that is the treatment for 50 rupees. That is also done both times. Then commission received in advance is 100. That is also not related to this year. So commission received in advance is not related to this year, but it is received. So that means already it is included in 500. So what we should do? Exclude now because it is not related to this year. So reduction from a credit means debit aspect is over. Then we need a credit aspect. Credit aspect will be what? It will be a liability. Commission received in advance is a liability. That is 100 rupees. That is a double treatment. Then interest accrued on the investments is 210. Means we are supposed to receive that. We did not receive. We have an investment. We have not received that, but it is accrued. Means we earned that. So definitely it is an income first of all. So in the P&L account, interest on investments, we can take it as 210. That is a credit treatment first. Debit treatment is an asset because that is still supposed to be received. So you can call that accrued interest on investments. That is 210. That is a debit treatment as an asset because we are still supposed to receive that. That is an asset for us. So 210 asset side of balance sheet, and on the credit side of P&L account as an income. That is the treatment for fourth point. Fifth point, interest on overdraft unpaid 300. Unpaid means outstanding. Outstanding means definitely a liability. So interest on overdraft. Actually, you can add it to overdraft also. That is one way of doing it. Otherwise, you can separately show that as a separate item also. Interest on overdraft is a liability. That is 300 rupees. That means it is a credit aspect. Now, there has to be a debit aspect for that. So, where is a debit aspect? It is an expenditure. It is an expenditure. But do we have any such thing here? No. So, separately create one thing. So, interest, expenditure. How much? 300 rupees. That is separate item. There is nothing to add here. Originally, if it is something there, we would have added that. When it is not there, we created a fresh thing. So, interest here. Interest on overdraft, you can call this 300 freshly created. Same way, interest on investments also we did not receive. That's where we created a separate item here on the credit side of P&L. Interest on investments 210 income, interest on overdraft 300 expenditure. On the other side, interest on investments is still supposed to be received. So accrued interest is an asset and interest on overdraft is payable. Payable means it is a liability. That is a dual treatment for both of the interest items. Reserve for bad debts or provision for bad debts, whatever we call it, we'll come to that later. Depreciation on furniture to be charged at 10%. So depreciation, same simple adjustment always. Depreciation will be 10% of whatever the amount is. So 1600 into 10% means it will be 160. Where again this 160 will go P&L account debit side. Depreciation on furniture 160. That is also over. Now come to the last point, that is reserve for bad debts or provision for bad debts. How much is there reserve already? Provision for bad debts 1000. How much is the provision that is required? 1000. Actually, there is nothing for us to do. There is nothing specially to be created. Why? Because already there is a provision of 1000, and as per the question, there is going to be a creation of a provision for 1000. So what is to be done here is only one thing which we did not treat in the trial balance. So what is to be done is this 1000 rupees has to be reduced from debtors. That is a reserve for bad debts, which was there in the trial balance originally. Freshly, what is there to do? Nothing to do, because the provision is exactly same as we already have. So should we create any extra provision now? Nothing. So no P&L treatment at all. No double treatment for this required. Only one treatment which was there for the item of trial balance, which was a credit balance obviously. Now what we treated like reducing it from debtors. That is the only treatment to be done, because the provision amount is same incidentally. Not necessarily always it will be like this. In the current scenario it is like that. So that is the treatment for all the items concluded. Now we have to do the calculations and find out gross profit, net profit, then balance sheet total, etc. So take the items to the outer column first. So how much is going to be the purchases? 10,000. How much is going to be the sales? 8,000. Closing stock, opening stock are already there. So that means total of the trading account is 12,500 and gross profit is 1100. 12,500 and gross profit is 1100. Correct. That goes to the profit and loss account by gross profit. Take the commission to the outer column. Interest on investments is also there, but here it looks like definitely debit side is more than credit side, which means there might be loss. So let us see how much is that. First take the items to the outer column. 2,600 is the total of salaries, taxes and insurance. Originally 500, add outstanding, deduct prepaid, 650 is the final amount. So here whichever is bigger item, that we have to take. Bigger item is debit item. So net profit not there. There might be net loss. So all these items total, if you do it manually, the total of all the debit side is 4,210. So now net loss will be how much? So by net loss, that will be 4,210 minus of the various incomes. So that is 2500 net loss. Since it is a loss, it has to be reduced from capital. Net loss reduced from capital. How much amount? Same amount, 2500. So now how much is the capital outer column? 16,000 minus 2000 minus 2500. 11,500 is outer column. Bank overdraft, creditors, bills payable, all outstanding things are all there on the liability side. Furniture, take it to the outer column, that goes to 1440. Investments are there. Cash in hand, bills receivable is there. Debtors, take it to outer column, that will be 4,000, and then total the balance sheet. That should tally, yes, of course, it is 18,700. So this is how various items have been posted. From the trial balance, every item should be posted only once. From the adjustments, every item has to be posted twice. That care has to be taken. And of course, debit credit aspects always have to be kept in mind. So that is final accounts preparation in a nutshell. And main points to once again ponder upon are: never try to by heart adjustment entries, never try to by heart treatment of adjustments, add here, less there, add there, deduct here. No, not like that. It has to be purely on the basis of logic. It has to be purely on the basis of debit credit in the mind always. Debit credit will save us. Plus minus will not save us. Keep it in your mind. So always keeping a track on, are we debiting, are we crediting, are we doing both if required. That has to be there in the back of the mind. With that mindset, any accounts, any final accounts question, any type of question that we encounter, certainly we'll be able to solve it accurately and get best marks out of it. That concludes this topic of final accounts revision, and I hope you practice the questions, as many questions as possible, not mechanically, always with a thought process of debit credit in mind. And while practicing, you can save time without writing any descriptions, etc. You can just do like this, like BOD, OSS, OST, like this. This will save time. While practicing, if you save time, what happens is you can practice more number of questions. That's the advantage you will get. Then in the main examination, you cannot do this. Definitely have to present it well. Writing full words have to be used. Acronyms cannot be used. Full abbreviations have to be used. So that will be done in the actual examination. But when you practice more and more questions quickly, when you increase your speed now at the time of practice, obviously in the final examinations, you should be able to solve these questions in a reasonable time. Of course, questions like final accounts will take more time. That's okay, but they are still worth it. If you solved and practiced so many questions, and if you can solve the similar question in the main exam, 10 marks is not small thing. And sometimes even 15 marks questions were asked, though rare. So 10 marks directly if you are getting, you have to spend time on that. So the return on the investment, that is time actually, return on the time that is invested is definitely more in these topics like final accounts, like BRS. So you cannot miss them. You have to be very, very thorough with them, and you have to be getting that score by understanding the concepts thoroughly and practicing them thoroughly, and finally implementing all these things, executing them well in the main examination. That is what is required for obtaining a better score. We'll discuss some more topics in the upcoming sessions. Till then, take care. Bye bye. Thank you very much.